Welcome to a journey back in time to the golden age of Hollywood, a world of glitz, glamour, and untold scandals. Today we're diving into the most extravagant parties, iconic stars, and hidden stories that defined an unforgettable era. Get ready to uncover the wild side of Hollywood's most legendary figures. It's undeniable that the stars of Hollywood's golden age had an unparalleled talent for living life to the fullest, and their social lives reflected this vibrant spirit. They were celebrated not only for their achievements on screen, but also for hosting some of the most talked about and extravagant parties of the era. These gatherings were attended by the creme de la creme of society, featuring a glittering mix of celebrities, socialites, and influential figures who flocked to these events for the chance to mingle with Hollywood's elite. At these glamorous soirees, indulgence was the norm. Alcohol flowed freely, creating an atmosphere charged with excitement and spontaneity. It wasn't uncommon for the attendees to partake in behaviors that pushed the boundaries of propriety, including activities that could easily be described as vices. While such extravagance might be expected at a typical high-profile gathering, some of these golden age parties ventured well beyond the usual revelry. They often became notorious for their sheer excess, attracting public attention, and in some cases, outrage. The sheer decadence of these events ensured they remained in the spotlight, with some even crossing the line into outright scandal. They made headlines not for their star-studded guest lists or opulent settings, but for the wild and at times shocking behavior that occurred behind closed doors. Among the most infamous of these gatherings were the parties hosted by Jayne Mansfield, a star as renowned for her vivacious personality as for her acting. Mansfield's Hollywood Hills mansion, famously known as the Pink Palace, became the epicenter of these legendary events, embodying both her flamboyant lifestyle and the uninhibited spirit of the era. Acquired in 1957, the mansion was transformed into a pink-themed wonderland, complete with pink fluorescent lights, pink furs in the bathrooms, and a heart-shaped bathtub that became the stuff of Hollywood legend. Even the swimming pool, built by her then-husband Mickey Hargitay, was pink and heart-shaped, adding to the home's unmistakable character. The Pink Palace was not just a home, but a stage where Mansfield hosted lavish parties that blurred the lines between glamour and scandal. The guest list was often packed with celebrities, socialites, and influential figures, drawn not just by her magnetic personality, but by the promise of an unforgettable evening. These gatherings were marked by free-flowing champagne, unrestrained laughter, and a permissive atmosphere that encouraged guests to let go of their public personas. Rumors of uninhibited behavior and whispered tales of orgies began to swirl, feeding Mansfield's already sensational reputation. Some accounts even suggested that she recorded provocative moments from these soirees, possibly for the private amusement of her inner circle. While the truth of these claims remains uncertain, they added an undeniable mystique to her life and cemented her parties as some of the most talked about events in Hollywood. Mansfield's bold embrace of her sensuality and unapologetic lifestyle extended beyond her infamous gatherings. Her rumored romantic entanglements with powerful figures like Robert F. Kennedy and President John F. Kennedy only deepened the intrigue surrounding her. The idea of a star so unabashedly merging Hollywood glamour with political influence fascinated and scandalized the public in equal measure. These alleged connections, combined with her wild parties, painted a picture of a woman who thrived on breaking boundaries and lived her life unapologetically on her own terms. The Pink Palace, with its heart-shaped pool and champagne-fueled revelry, stood as a testament to an era where pleasure often eclipsed propriety. Mansfield's soirees were not merely about indulgence. They were a celebration of Hollywood's larger-than-life allure and its darker undercurrents of excess and escapism. Her legacy as both a glamorous icon and a lightning rod for scandal endures, encapsulating the tension between stardom's polished exterior and the raw, untamed reality behind closed doors. The 1921 scandal surrounding silent film star Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle remains one of Hollywood's earliest and most infamous controversies. On September 5th of that year, Arbuckle hosted a lavish party at the St. Francis Hotel in San Francisco, drawing an array of guests including actress Virginia Rappe. During the party, Rappe became gravely ill and was later hospitalized, where she tragically passed away 4 days later. Allegations quickly surfaced when one of Rappe's friends accused Arbuckle of assaulting and inadvertently causing her death. What followed were 3 highly publicized trials for manslaughter. The first 2 ended with hung juries, and though Arbuckle was acquitted in the 3rd trial, the damage to his career and personal reputation was irreparable. The media circus surrounding the case was unprecedented. Sensationalist headlines and graphic speculation dominated the news cycle, captivating a public eager for scandal. Newspaper tycoon William Randolph Hearst reportedly remarked that the Arbuckle case sold more newspapers than any event since the sinking of the Lusitania, underscoring how deeply it gripped the nation. The scandal's fallout extended beyond Arbuckle himself, triggering widespread scrutiny of Hollywood and its perceived moral decay. In direct response to the public uproar, the Motion Picture Producers and Distributors of America, MPPDA, was established in 1922, with Will H. Hayes at its helm. The organization sought to self-regulate the film industry, hoping to curb further scandals and preempt government intervention, while attempting to restore the public's trust in Hollywood. This incident brought to light mounting concerns over the influence of Hollywood on societal values and the conduct of its stars. It also laid the groundwork for the eventual implementation of the Hays Code in the 1930s, which imposed stringent rules on film content to uphold moral standards. The Arbuckle scandal serves as a stark reminder of the delicate balance between celebrity culture, media sensationalism, and public morality, a dynamic that not only defined Hollywood's golden age but continues to resonate in modern-day discussions about the responsibilities of fame and entertainment. These episodes reveal that, while the glamour of the golden age is often romanticized, there was also a darker side to the era. The indulgence and excess that characterized these parties reflected a culture where boundaries were tested and in some cases completely disregarded. These stories continue to intrigue and shock to this day, offering a glimpse into the lives of Hollywood's most legendary figures during a time when the stars truly lived larger than life. The 10 scandalous parties of Hollywood's golden age still manage to shock and intrigue even decades later. Among these infamous gatherings was the Roaring Twenties themed party hosted in the mid-1950s by none other than America's golden couple, Eddie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds. While many Hollywood couples of the era were known for their extravagant parties, this particular event stood out not only for its theme, but for the rumors and tales that followed it. Taking place in 1955, at a time when Eddie Fisher was enjoying immense popularity as a crooner with his romantic chart-topping hits, and Debbie Reynolds was cementing her place as a leading actress. The couple was at the pinnacle of their careers. Despite their hectic schedules and ambitions, they occasionally sought moments to relax and unwind, and this party was a grand celebration of their success in youth. With their immense fame and influence, the couple decided to go all out for this backyard soiree, transforming their garage into a playroom and setting the stage for what would become one of the most exclusive and memorable parties in Hollywood. The guest list included rising stars of the time, such as Tab Hunter, who was idolized as the poster boy for teenage dreams, and Leon Tai, known for his charm and charisma. The evening began with a seemingly innocent and electric atmosphere. Guests arrived dressed to the nines, excited to embrace the Roaring Twenties theme, complete with flapper-style dresses, suspenders, and all the glamour that the jazz age evoked. The setting was lively and fun, filled with laughter, upbeat conversations, and the clinking of champagne glasses. However, as the night progressed, it became apparent that this wasn't just a typical Hollywood gathering. Beneath the surface of smiles and playful banter, the party took on a wilder edge. The stars in attendance began shedding their polished public personas, revealing a more uninhibited and daring side. The Roaring Twenties theme seemed to inspire a sense of rebellion, and the atmosphere turned more provocative as the evening wore on. Lingering glances turned into bold gestures, and whispers of rumors about the use of illicit substances began to circulate. Pictures from the party, though few and far between, later suggested that the night was anything but innocent. Guests appeared carefree, indulging in activities that they would typically avoid in the public eye. The sense of reckless abandon was palpable, with many of the young stars fully immersing themselves in the moment, exploring their untamed desires, and letting go of societal expectations. By the end of the night, the party had evolved into something far more risque than anyone might have anticipated. While the full details of what transpired remain shrouded in mystery, known only to those who attended, the event left a lasting impression. The whispers of excess, freedom, and scandal that surrounded the party made it legendary, a vivid example of how even the most wholesome public figures could embrace the unrestrained glamour and decadence of Hollywood's golden age. Eddie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds may have intended to host a celebration of youth and success, but the night ultimately became a snapshot of the era's ability to blur the line between elegance and indulgence. Rumors swirled after the Fisher-Reynolds party, suggesting that the night had taken a turn far wilder than anyone could have anticipated. This was particularly surprising given the couple's wholesome public image. Eddie Fisher, with his romantic ballads, and Debbie Reynolds, celebrated as the girl next door, were hardly figures one would associate with scandalous revelry. Yet the whispers of indulgence and uninhibited behavior at the event added a layer of intrigue to their seemingly perfect reputations. While this party was a moment of unexpected wildness, another event in Hollywood history, the 1937 MGM Grand Party, marked a far darker and more troubling chapter. Organized in Los Angeles to honor the studio's top salesman, the event was touted as a glamorous celebration, with all the hallmarks of extravagance that MGM was known for. Salesmen from across the country were transported to the city by train, a spectacle designed to showcase the studio's opulence and generosity. Upon their arrival, they were greeted with a parade of star-studded appearances, marching bands, and even a convoy of motorcycle police to escort them to the venue, the iconic Ambassador Hotel. The evening began on a high note as Louis B. Mayer, MGM's powerful and influential head, took to the stage to deliver a rousing speech. The atmosphere was electric, brimming with excitement and promise. An open bar ensured that spirits, both metaphorical and literal, were high, while performances by the comedic duo Laurel and Hardy and the enchanting Dandridge sisters added a touch of brilliance to the occasion. However, beneath the veneer of glamour and celebration, a sinister undertone began to emerge as the night unfolded. Amid the grandeur, Patricia Douglas, a young dancer and movie extra, experienced a nightmare she would spend the rest of her life trying to forget. Douglas was one of 120 young women invited under the pretense of participating in an on-location film shoot. However, upon arriving, it became clear that this was no ordinary filming opportunity. Instead, the event revealed itself to be a stag party, an all-male celebration where the women present were treated as mere objects of entertainment. As the evening descended into debauchery, Douglas found herself targeted by a drunken salesman. Allegedly, he forced her to drink alcohol and later assaulted her, a horrifying act that shattered her trust and sense of safety. What should have been a glamorous evening of professional networking turned into a traumatic ordeal. Devastated and enraged, Douglas refused to remain silent about what had happened to her. She publicly recounted every harrowing detail of that night, seeking justice and accountability for the crime committed against her. However, her quest for justice was met with an unyielding wall of resistance. MGM, determined to protect its reputation and the image of its top salesman, allegedly used its considerable influence to suppress the scandal. They ensured the case received minimal attention, and Douglas's voice was effectively silenced by the legal system, not because her claims were false, but because the studio's power overshadowed her cries for accountability. The incident was swept under the rug, allowing MGM to preserve its pristine image at the expense of a young woman's dignity and well-being. The 1937 MGM party, once remembered as an opulent celebration of the studio's success, has since become a chilling reminder of the exploitation and corruption that could thrive behind Hollywood's glamorous facade. Patricia Douglas's courage to speak out despite the odds remains a powerful testament to the resilience of those who refuse to let injustice go unnoticed, even when faced with seemingly insurmountable opposition. To avoid a scandal that could irreparably tarnish the studio's reputation, MGM leveraged its considerable influence to bury the incident involving Patricia Douglas. While the studio's actions showcased its power to suppress controversy, it also highlighted the darker underbelly of Hollywood's golden age, a world where glamour and prestige often masked troubling realities. This theme of excess and unrestrained indulgence carried through to other Hollywood legends, none more famously than Jane Mansfield, a star who embraced both her sensuality and her notoriety with fearless abandon. Mansfield was the epitome of Hollywood wildness, a blonde bombshell whose name became synonymous with glamour, scandal, and excess. Her curvaceous figure, sparkling smile, and trademark platinum locks were the tools she wielded to captivate audiences and dominate headlines. She was a natural showwoman, ensuring that every camera adored her, and she thrived on the public's fascination with her bold persona. However, her allure wasn't confined to her appearances on screen or in the press. Mansfield's Hollywood Hills mansion became legendary for hosting some of the most infamous and uninhibited parties the city had ever seen. Imagine a sprawling estate nestled in the Hollywood Hills, the night sky dotted with stars, and the poolside illuminated like a scene straight out of a glamorous movie set. This was the backdrop for Jane Mansfield's notorious gatherings, where the concept of excess reached new heights. Her soirees were anything but ordinary. They were spectacles of indulgence that often left guests both in awe and disbelief. The parties, filled with flowing drinks and exuberant energy, were renowned for pushing the boundaries of what was deemed acceptable even by Hollywood's permissive standards. Rumors surrounding these events painted a picture of unrestrained hedonism. Guests reportedly shed their public personas and embraced an uninhibited, carefree spirit that Mansfield encouraged. The nights were said to be rife with risque activities, and whispers of orgies circulated widely. Some accounts even claimed that Mansfield went so far as to document these escapades, allegedly recording some of the more provocative moments for the entertainment of her guests. But Mansfield's reputation for wildness extended beyond her legendary parties. She was also known for her high-profile and controversial romantic entanglements with some of the most powerful men of her time, including Robert F. Kennedy and his brother, President John F. Kennedy. The rumors of her affairs with the Kennedy brothers added another layer of intrigue to her already scandalous image, hinting at a deeper connection between Hollywood and political power. The Kennedys, known for their charisma and influence, were reportedly captivated by Mansfield's magnetic charm, further cementing her legacy as a figure who effortlessly blurred the lines between celebrity, seduction, and controversy. Jane Mansfield's Hollywood Hills mansion stood as a testament to an era where the pursuit of pleasure often eclipsed propriety. Her unapologetic embrace of her sensuality and her audacious lifestyle made her both a symbol of the Golden Age's glamour and a lightning rod for its most scandalous rumors. In doing so, she ensured that her name would remain etched in the annals of Hollywood history as a star who truly lived on her own terms, regardless of the consequences. What truly transpired behind the closed doors of Jane Mansfield's Hollywood mansion remains shrouded in mystery, a tantalizing secret from an era when stars lived larger than life, often creating more intrigue off-screen than on it. This air of mystique and boundary-pushing hedonism wasn't confined to her infamous gatherings alone, but extended to other iconic events of Hollywood's golden age. Among them was the legendary 1950 Las Vegas party, a night that became etched in the annals of celebrity excess and indulgence. While Hollywood stars were no strangers to wild celebrations, their gatherings were typically shrouded in exclusivity. These private parties, often attended only by fellow celebrities, allowed the stars to shed their public facades and let their guards down. What made the Las Vegas party particularly noteworthy wasn't just its exclusivity, but the flood of rumors that emerged from it. Though the majority of these events remained tightly sealed in secrecy, this night managed to break through the walls of discretion with whispers and stories leaking into the public sphere, fueling the tabloids of the time. The stage was set in the hallowed halls of a nightclub where opulence and glamour were the order of the evening. This wasn't just any ordinary gathering. It was an event that had drawn luminaries from across Hollywood, including the brooding Montgomery Clift, the charismatic Daisy Arnaz, the beloved Lucille Ball, and the ever-alluring Marlene Dietrich. The festivities began on a refined note, with a banquet of exquisite food and sparkling conversation, a reflection of Hollywood's penchant for grandeur. The ambiance was one of sophistication, with dim lighting casting a soft glow on rows of champagne glasses that glistened like jewels. But as the clock struck midnight, the mood shifted dramatically. The polished veneer of propriety began to dissolve, giving way to a night of unfettered indulgence. Photographs captured by the paparazzi offered a tantalizing glimpse of the spectacle within, but these snapshots only scratched the surface of what truly unfolded. Hidden from the camera's flash were moments of wild abandon that would never make it into the glossy pages of public magazines, but instead became the subject of persistent rumors and scandalous whispers. While some reports painted the party as a mere gathering of friends enjoying themselves, others suggested a far more uninhibited narrative, Accounts surfaced alleging rampant drinking, excessive drug use, and behavior that defied the carefully curated public personas of the stars involved. Even those celebrities, known for their calm and reserved demeanor, reportedly unleashed a more unrestrained side, reveling in the freedom offered by the privacy of the event. The nightclub, with its exclusive and intimate atmosphere, became a playground where Hollywood's elite could do as they pleased without fear of judgment or exposure. The phrase, "What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas," seemed to encapsulate the night perfectly, as the stars embraced the opportunity to escape their stardom's rigid expectations. Yet, as stories of the evening began to leak, the rumors of excess and debauchery only added to the allure of the Golden Age, where the line between reality and myth was often impossible to discern. The 1950 Las Vegas party wasn't just a night of revelry, it was a snapshot of a time when the glamour and allure of Hollywood collided with its darker, unrestrained impulses. For those fortunate enough, or perhaps unlucky enough, to witness it firsthand, it was a night that exemplified the duality of fame, the dazzling public-facing perfection, and the wild, untamed reality hidden behind closed doors. The unspoken rule that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas epitomized the ethos of the 1950 Las Vegas party. With no restrictions and an implicit agreement of discretion, Hollywood's most illustrious stars used the night to escape the constraints of their public personas. Beneath the glittering chandeliers and away from prying eyes, these icons of perfection shed their carefully crafted images, embracing a level of freedom and indulgence that was rarely seen outside such exclusive gatherings. What unfolded was a night that exceeded even the wildest expectations, as the stars indulged in behaviors that blurred the line between glamorous escapism and outright scandal. This same theme of excess and boundary pushing defined the parties of Errol Flynn, a Hollywood figure as infamous for his off-screen antics as he was celebrated for his on-screen charm. Flynn's rebellious spirit seemed ingrained from childhood. His tumultuous relationship with his mother, who, exasperated by his unruly behavior, reportedly called him the devil, foreshadowed a life of adventure, rule-breaking, and hedonism. As he rose to fame in the golden age of Hollywood, Flynn's penchant for extravagance only grew, transforming him into one of the era's most notorious party animals. Flynn's sprawling Spanish-style mansion became the stage for weekly gatherings that were as legendary as they were controversial. Nestled in the Hollywood Hills, his estate was a labyrinth of hidden alcoves, secret passageways, and secluded corners, an ideal backdrop for nights that often spiraled into chaos. The mansion's backyard even featured exotic wild animals, adding an element of the bizarre to the festivities. Flynn's guest list read like a who's who of Golden Age Hollywood, with stars such as Clark Gable, David Niven, and Olivia de Havilland frequently in attendance. The parties themselves were the stuff of legend. The alcohol flowed in endless supply, with top-shelf liquors and champagne ensuring no glass went empty. Jazz music filled the air, setting the tone for an evening where laughter, clinking glasses, and uninhibited revelry reigned supreme. As the night progressed, the energy of the gatherings took on a life of its own. Guests danced with reckless abandon, the rhythm of the music liberating them from the pressures of their stardom. Flynn, with his irresistible charm and storytelling prowess, was always at the center, regaling attendees with tales of his many adventures. But beneath the laughter and music lay a more risque side to Flynn's soiree. Rumors swirled about secret trysts in the mansion's hidden alcoves, whispers of romantic escapades that added an air of scandal to the already decadent nights. These gatherings were more than just parties. They were an opportunity for Hollywood's elite to shed their inhibitions and indulge in behaviors that would have been unthinkable in the public eye. Flynn's mansion became a sanctuary where the rules of society seemed to fade away, allowing his guests to explore a side of themselves they kept hidden from the spotlight. Despite the wild nature of these events, those who attended rarely spoke of what transpired. The secrecy surrounding Flynn's parties only fueled their mystique, cementing his reputation as one of Hollywood's most notorious hosts. For Flynn and his co-stars, these gatherings were an escape, a chance to revel in the freedom that came with fame, even if it meant dancing on the edge of scandal. His parties were a vivid reflection of an era where glamour, indulgence, and controversy often walked hand in hand, leaving behind stories that continue to captivate long after the music stopped. The details of what transpired during Hedda Hopper's legendary birthday bash remain a closely guarded secret, a tantalizing reminder that some Hollywood stories are destined to live behind closed doors. This veil of mystery was not unique to Hopper's party, as the golden age of Hollywood was filled with events that blended opulence with indulgence. One such unforgettable evening took place in 1951 when the incomparable Joan Crawford hosted a gathering that would become the talk of the town. The setting for this extravagant affair was the iconic Stork Club in New York, a venue synonymous with late-night revelry and the lavish lifestyle of old Hollywood. Known as a playground for the elite, the Stork Club was a place where stars like Frank Sinatra crooned, Marilyn Monroe dazzled, and Humphrey Bogart held court. On this particular night, however, it was Joan Crawford who reigned supreme. A shining star of Hollywood's golden age, Crawford was celebrated not only for her extraordinary acting talent, which earned her acclaim in films such as Mildred Pierce, Possessed, and The Women, but also for her strong-willed, larger-than-life personality. Joan Crawford was the embodiment of Hollywood glamour, yet she was also known for her spirited and uninhibited approach to life. Unafraid to break the rules or challenge conventions, Crawford brought that same energy to her parties. The 1951 gathering at the Stork Club was no exception. She arrived in grand style, draped in elegance and exuding confidence, ready to host a night that would be remembered for years to come. The evening began like any high society event, with the air thick with charm, laughter, and the clinking of champagne glasses. Guests mingled under glittering chandeliers, basking in the ambiance of one of Hollywood's most glamorous stars. But as the night progressed, the party transformed into something far more uninhibited. What appeared on the surface to be a sophisticated gathering soon unraveled into a wilder affair behind closed doors. Rumors swirled that Crawford, typically the picture of poise, allowed herself to let loose completely. Photographs from the event began to surface in the days that followed, capturing a side of Joan Crawford that few had seen before. Once the epitome of Hollywood elegance, she was pictured laughing freely, indulging in vices, and immersing herself in the unrestrained energy of the evening. Those who attended later described the party as a reflection of Crawford's dual nature, a woman who was both a disciplined artist and a free-spirited individual unafraid to push boundaries. The images of her reveling in the moment became a sensation, showcasing not just a star enjoying her time in the spotlight, but a person embracing the ephemeral joy of life. However, the whispers of what may have happened out of view, the unfiltered conversations, the secret indulgences, only added to the mystique of the evening. Joan Crawford's 1951 Stork Club party remains a perfect example of how Golden Age Hollywood operated in dualities. By day, its stars were icons of refinement and discipline, but by night, they often allowed themselves to explore a more carefree and sometimes scandalous side. For Crawford, this evening was not just a party, it was a moment to revel in her own legacy, proving once again why she was one of the era's most unforgettable figures. The 1957 party hosted by Sophia Loren in Los Angeles was the kind of event that cemented its place in Hollywood lore. An unforgettable evening that brought together the era's brightest stars for a night of unbridled revelry. If you've ever come across the iconic photo of Sophia Loren casting a sidelong glance at Jayne Mansfield's daringly low neckline, you've glimpsed just a fraction of the intrigue and drama that unfolded that fateful night. The Paramount Pictures lot buzzed with anticipation in the lead-up to the event, as it was clear this wasn't going to be just another Hollywood soiree. This gathering was a tribute to glamour, excess, and the undeniable charisma of its host, Sophia Loren. Sophia Loren, already an international sensation and one of the most celebrated actresses of her time, had an innate ability to command attention wherever she went. Her parties were no exception. On this particular night, the guest list read like a who's who of Tinseltown royalty, featuring Hollywood's most luminous bombshells and leading men. The atmosphere was electric as the guests, each one dripping in star power, made their grand entrances. It wasn't merely the caliber of attendees that made this party extraordinary. It was the indulgent, almost surreal energy that pervaded the evening. Jayne Mansfield, who was as famous for her voluptuous figure and uninhibited personality as she was for her acting, was a standout presence at the party. Known for her love of living life to the fullest, Mansfield didn't just attend the event, she dominated it. Photos captured her in moments of pure abandon, fully embracing the carefree, wild spirit that characterized many of Hollywood's most infamous gatherings. She wasn't the only one letting go, though. As the night unfolded, the atmosphere shifted from one of sophistication to one of reckless freedom. The glamorous facade of old Hollywood gave way to a more raw and uninhibited reality, where secrets were exchanged over cigarettes and cocktails, and laughter echoed through the luxurious space. Behind the closed doors of Loren's party, the air thickened with intrigue, indulgence, and a touch of mischief. Guests puffed on cigarettes and sipped martinis as though there was no tomorrow, their inhibitions loosening with every clink of a glass. The night quickly became a tapestry of whispered conversations, stolen glances, and clandestine encounters. Rumors swirled about discreet affairs and hidden rendezvous, while the energy of the evening grew increasingly decadent. For many of Hollywood's elite, this was more than just a celebration. It was an escape from the constant glare of the spotlight. As the hours passed, the party morphed into something more legendary than even its planners could have anticipated. It became a symbol of the intoxicating magic and excess that defined Hollywood's golden age. The laughter, the wild antics, and the charged moments behind the scenes made it clear that this wasn't just another gathering. It was a full-fledged spectacle. Loren's 1957 party remains etched in the annals of Hollywood's history, not only for the iconic snapshot of her and Mansfield, but for the spirit of unfiltered indulgence that unfolded over the course of the evening. It perfectly encapsulated an era where excess was not just celebrated, but expected, where stars lived as boldly off-screen as they did in their most glamorous roles. Sophia Loren's 1957 party offered a night of indulgence, glamour, and legendary tales that would be remembered, or in some cases best forgotten, depending on just how much the guests allowed themselves to revel in the excess. But long before Loren's event became a hallmark of Hollywood extravagance, another venue had already established itself as the epicenter of wildness, scandal, and allure, the Garden of Allah. During the 1920s and 1930s, this hotel wasn't just a luxurious retreat. It was a stage where Hollywood's most elite engaged in decadence that blurred the lines between high society and hedonistic abandon. To step into the Garden of Allah was to enter a world where glamour intertwined with gossip, and secrets brewed as freely as the cocktails. The grand Art Deco lobby, a serene space accented with potted palms and soft jazz melodies, served as a prelude to the chaos that awaited inside. For the uninitiated, the calm was deceptive. Beyond the lobby, the real revelry began. This was where stars like Errol Flynn held court, their charm and charisma matched only by their appetite for excess. Drinking at the Garden was no ordinary affair. The bartenders were lauded as masters of mixology, crafting cocktails so potent they could impress even Ernest Hemingway himself. As the nights wore on, inhibitions faded, and the stars shed their carefully constructed personas to indulge in unrestrained freedom. The Garden of Allah was more than a playground for Hollywood's elite. It was a cauldron of scandal and intrigue. Beneath the dim chandeliers and behind heavy velvet curtains, whispered promises and clandestine encounters unfolded. Trysts bloomed in shadowy corners, and fleeting affairs played out beneath the California stars. F. Scott Fitzgerald, a frequent guest, was no stranger to these events. In one particularly infamous 1930 episode, an argument with his wife Zelda escalated so dramatically that Fitzgerald hurled a champagne glass at her, sparking a fiery scene that made headlines across the nation. This was not a place where secrets remained buried. The Garden was a melting pot of gossip, vice, and raw human drama. During the 1920s and 30s, Hollywood and the nation at large were emerging from the constraints of prohibition, and the thirst for indulgence was palpable. At the Garden of Allah, laughter echoed raucously, music pulsed intoxicatingly, and shadows concealed transgressions that could ruin careers if exposed. Here, stars shone brightest and fell hardest. For many, these parties represented both the pinnacle of Hollywood's allure and its dark undercurrent of excess. Under the twinkling California sky, sins were laid bare, and glamour intertwined with decadence, creating an unforgettable cocktail of temptation and intrigue. Not far from this legendary venue, another site of opulence and chaos emerged, Marion Davies's beach house in Santa Monica. During the 1920s, this sun-soaked estate became the playground for Hollywood royalty, hosted by newspaper magnate William Randolph Hearst and his dazzling mistress, Marion Davies. Against the backdrop of the Pacific Ocean, where golden sands met endless blue horizons, stars like Charlie Chaplin and Greta Garbo gathered for evenings that redefined luxury and indulgence. Yet, amid the glamour, chaos was often an uninvited but inevitable guest. The beach house parties, much like the Garden of Allah soiree, were the stuff of legend. Extravagance was the order of the day, but it often gave way to dramatic outbursts and shocking moments. One such incident occurred in 1924 when Hearst, known for his fiery temper, allegedly pulled a gun on Charlie Chaplin during a heated argument. The confrontation, rife with tension, provided the tabloids with enough fodder to fuel weeks of scandalous speculation. These weren't merely social gatherings. They were arenas where history was made, where the biggest stars of the silver screen mingled at the height of their fame, yet teetered precariously on the edge of chaos. To attend these parties was to witness a surreal tableau where excess became an art form. The stars arrived in their finest attire, embodying the glitz and glamour that defined the era. But as the night wore on, the line between sophistication and debauchery blurred. Beneath the polished surface of Hollywood's golden age lay a raw, untamed underbelly. At venues like the Garden of Allah and Marion Davies' Beach House, the allure of stardom clashed with the darkness of indulgence, creating gatherings that were as unforgettable as they were scandalous. These were not just parties. They were the embodiment of an era where living boldly often came at the cost of self-restraint. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Hollywood's golden age. The stories of excess, glamour, and scandal remind us that even the brightest stars have shadows. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating tales from history's most iconic eras. See you in the next episode.